Hi everybody, welcome to this video presentation on how to enhance your presentations with PowerPoint and Sway. My name is Zach Peterson and I work with the Training and Communications team here in the Office of Information Technology. And today what we're going to go over is some of the technical tips and tricks on how to make your PowerPoint presentations even better. I'll also introduce you to a newer service that Microsoft is offering for more online-based presentations called Microsoft Sway. And also, to start off with, we're going to go over some tips and tricks on how to enhance your presentation outside of PowerPoint, how to make your presentation skills a little bit better. And so first, let me go ahead and I'll show you the keys, a couple of keys to a great presentation. First off is simplifying information. Your audience usually is going to not know as much as you know about the topic you're talking about. And so it's a lot easier to get that information to your audience in an effective manner when you simplify that information. Of course, they're not going to know all of the lingo or the jargon that you might know, so it's always good to simplify it and make sure that you do relay the information you want to relay, but it's in a way that is easily understandable. And also I have consistency, which as you can see here, I have been very consistent with my fonts. I have seen a lot of presentations where there's about 3 or 4 different fonts, different font colors, different font sizes, and that kind of thing can get really distracting for your audience. So when you are using PowerPoint for your presentation, make sure to keep your design consistent, your information consistent, and it'll make your presentation a lot easier to digest by your audience. Also, the one biggest point that I like to talk about when I'm talking about PowerPoint is to use PowerPoint as a supplement to your presentation, not a crutch. A lot of people use PowerPoint as a way to basically do the presentation for them, and that's not what PowerPoint is for. PowerPoint is used for basically slides for your audience to reinforce the ideas that you're giving to them in your presentation. So always use PowerPoint as the very powerful tool that it is, but not as a crutch that basically does all the work for you. And so now let me show you a couple of examples of what not to do in your PowerPoint presentation. And this goes back to consistency on this next slide. I'm going to show it to you here. And take a look at that. Wow. We have a blue background with a bright green foreground and text in the middle of the square. Actually, it's not even centered on the square, and we actually have a little bit of text hanging off of this bright green square. Really hard to read. You might be able to see it okay in this video, but imagine if you were watching this presentation on a projector, possibly an old projector or a projector that's out of focus, so the colors aren't very good. You would get a headache really quick. And so always keep your design choices in mind whenever you're creating a PowerPoint presentation. Keep it consistent and make the fonts easy to read. Like this first part with Chilean exports, yeah, it's a nice looking font for something else, but not necessarily for a PowerPoint presentation. It could be hard to read. And so always keep that in mind. And now the next, or the second slide for what not to do is the infamous wall of text. And here we are right here. The wall of text, I see this all the time. You've probably seen it before as well. Doesn't matter if you're a faculty, staff, or a student, you've probably seen a wall of text in a PowerPoint presentation. I have so much information that I want to share. I have to put it all on a PowerPoint slideshow. That's not the case. You don't have to do that. One thing is that if you notice, you'll know you'll have too much text or it's too small on your slide if you notice your audience starts squinting when you're talking and looking at the slide. And that's going to distract them because they're trying to read the slide while you're talking. And of course, they're not going to be able to listen to what you're talking about when they're trying to figure out, what did he put on that slideshow? Or what did she, what is that information there? So always pare down your text. And another crutch that I want to go back to when you have a wall of text is that you may, even if you think you're not, when you have all of this text, you might find yourself turning around to look at your own slideshow and reading from the slideshow. That's not what PowerPoint is for. PowerPoint is for basically the basic points that you want to talk about, and then you're the one who's going to talk about them. The slideshow doesn't speak for you. So having all this information is very distracting, very confusing, and really doesn't look good. So always make sure to keep your text simple. And so now also, the next slide I want to show you is presenting your presentation. So like I've said, PowerPoint is a very powerful tool for presentation, but it's also you as well. You're probably the most powerful tool in your presentation. And there's a few points here that I want to talk about. The first one, of course, is practice, practice, practice. We've practiced this particular presentation, my colleagues and I, just to make sure we have everything the way we want it, the timing's okay, everything behaves the way we want it to. There's a lot of moving parts, so it's always helpful to practice your presentation beforehand so you know what's coming and you can work on it a little bit better. Also, have notes for yourself. I have a page in front of me with an outline of what I want to talk about in this presentation, and it's always helpful for you. And I will also show you, once we get into PowerPoint here in a few minutes, I will show you how to put notes into PowerPoint and print out a special notes page just for you directly from PowerPoint. So that makes making your notes a lot easier. Also, it's really important and helpful to know your audience. Knowing your audience basically is knowing who your audience is, what they do, what they might be interested in, things that they may not react well to, things like that. Just know what your audience wants so you can provide what they need and want. And so knowing your audience allows you to tweak your presentation in a way that is most engaging for that particular audience. That's especially helpful if you're doing the same presentation for multiple types of people. So that's always helpful to do. And always be prepared. I say that also includes, having your outline, practicing things like that, but also technically prepared. I know in our age of cloud storage, we can store something in the cloud, then go across the world and access it easy peasy, right? Well, you may remember a few weeks ago, as of this recording of this presentation, we had that large Amazon Web Services outage that took out large parts of the internet, including a lot of cloud storage services. If that happened before your presentation and you weren't able to get to your content for your presentation, that's not a great thing. So it's always good to be prepared. I always keep presentations on a USB drive in my pocket, on my keychain even, so I have it with me wherever I go. So in case there is an internet outage or something like that, I can always still have access to my content. And so it's always important to be prepared in that way as well as practicing your presentation. So now, before we get into PowerPoint, just a couple more small things I want to talk about, especially for faculty and staff here at SMU. If I go here to this next slide, here we go. We have SMU's own PowerPoint template. The great folks at SMU Public Affairs have put together this really, really snazzy PowerPoint template that you can use in your presentations with all of the proper SMU branding and font faces and colors and all that kind of thing, and really great photos of campus. So if you are giving a presentation on campus or maybe off campus representing SMU, this would be a great template for you. I would have put the URL in this particular slide, but it is incredibly long. So I will just go ahead and ask you to go to SMU's homepage and search for Public Affairs or for PowerPoint template and in the search bar up in the top right of the SMU website, and it will take you to that page. And so now, let me move along to a little bit of a teaser of what we're going to cover after PowerPoint. That's going to be Microsoft Sway. And Microsoft Sway is a really cool program that allows you to, or it's not really a program, rather, it's more of a web-based service. It's been called PowerPoint for the Internet, but it's a little more than that. Not only can you make a presentation that you can present in front of an audience like we would do for PowerPoint, we can also create basically really, really slick websites that basically present data in a very, very interactive way. And it's also cloud-based, so anything that you do in Microsoft Sway is saved in the cloud. It can include content from various sources, just like PowerPoint, but the cool thing about Sway is that it has a lot more powerful features for searching for content within Sway. You can search for YouTube videos, images, other videos elsewhere on the internet, even tweets. You can search for tweets and embed them into your presentation. Pretty cool. And also you can view it on all kinds of devices, desktops, browsers, mobile devices, iOS, Android, you name it. Microsoft Sway can run on all of those different platforms. And so that's my presentation. And normally in most of my webinars and presentations, I'm used to closing PowerPoint after I'm done with my first presentation, but today I'm going to keep it open. So here we are in our PowerPoint presentation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks in PowerPoint to make your presentation a little easier to deal with, as well as more engaging for your audience. So let's go ahead and I'll take a look for us. And so I'm going to scroll back up here to the left-hand side. I know a lot of us have used PowerPoint before, and students, faculty, staff, whether you're in the classroom, the office, you name it, you've probably gone into PowerPoint at some point because it's been out for a really long time. And you've probably created basic slideshows before as well, because it's an incredibly intuitive and easy program. And because of that, sometimes some of the features get overlooked. And so I'm going to show you a few of the really cool features that we've discovered that can help you make your presentation a little better. First off, on the left-hand side with these slide views here, I'm going to show you, I'm going to right-click in some of this empty area around the slides, this gray area. It might be white on your screen. Let me right-click, and there should be an option to add a section to this slideshow. And so now you see an untitled section, and I can always add another one here. There we go. And what we can do, we can always name them and minimize them to make them a little easier. Let me rename this section to Zach's section. Then I'm going to rename this section to, let's say, Mary. Now, the reason why I named it this way is this can be very useful for students in group projects. Whenever you're in a group project and you have to give a presentation, I know those happen quite a bit in the undergraduate world. And what you can do in PowerPoint, you can save this PowerPoint to your OneDrive at SMU. We provide that for free. And if you save it to your OneDrive, you can share it with your classmates in your group. And what you can do then is create sections for each of the group members. And you can say, okay, Mary, you have these slides you need to work on. I have these slides. Bob has these slides. So it's a really easy way to separate and delegate work in a particular slideshow for group projects. So really helpful that way. Usually it's used just for organization, so for certain sections of the presentation, but I've discovered that that can also work really well for the group presentation. So keep that in mind next time you have a group presentation in a class. Also, let me go ahead, speaking of different views and outline views, let me go to the View tab here in the top of PowerPoint in our ribbon. And we have a lot of different views of how we can look at PowerPoint as we're working within our presentation, not necessarily the actual presenting part. By default, of course, we have the left-hand sidebar with these little clips, the smaller versions of our slides. But there are other views as well, like Outline View. This one can be really helpful. If I click on Outline View here, instead of the slides on the left-hand side, it actually shows me an outline of my presentation. If you prefer working in a text-based outline, you can use this view and it can be very helpful for you. Let me scroll down and I'll go to one of my other slides here instead of my wall of text up there. Let me click on Know the Audience right here in my Presenting the Presentation slide here in the outline. When I click on that part of the outline, it takes me to that slide in PowerPoint. And not only that, I can actually delete and edit and add text directly from this outline. And it updates the slideshow automatically. Pretty cool. And so that's a really helpful view as well. We also have Slide Sorter, which allows us to kind of have a top-down view of our slideshow. This is really helpful for big slideshows. You can move things around easily. Then we have a Notes page, which shows us the notes that we've placed on our slides, as well as the slide itself. You can also print this off, which allows you to have a copy of your notes available for you along with a picture of your slide, which can be very, very helpful and goes back to that being prepared part in our presentation. And then we also have Reading View, which is similar to the Reading View in other Office programs like Word and Excel. But let me escape from that here and go back to our normal view. And let me go ahead and I'm going to show you a quick way to create a slideshow from scratch. And let me go ahead, I'm going to create a new blank presentation here. And what I want to do here is, of course, I could just start typing and create my presentation that way. But let's say I actually have a Word document that I want to make into a presentation. You can do that. Let me go ahead and I'll go to Word here just to show you what this document looks like here. And this is what my outline in Word looks like. Pretty basic. It's actually the outline I'm using for this particular video. But let me close that out here. I just wanted to show you what this looks like. But in PowerPoint, I'm going to go to New Slide. And then once I go to New Slide, of course, you do have all of the different slide types that you can use. But below that, you have this option that says Slides from Outline. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Then I'm going to go to my desktop where I have my document saved. And there you have it. Right then and there, it took my outline from Word and put it into PowerPoint, just like that, quick and easy. So that's a really easy way to create a PowerPoint and then build off of it. So if you have a basic outline structure of what your presentation needs to be, you can put that into PowerPoint and it automatically creates your slides that you can then flesh out and add images and things like that. So let me go ahead and I'll close this out. I just want to point that out to you because it's a really cool feature. Let me go ahead. I don't want to save that there. Okay. Now we are going to go back into this presentation here, and let's say we are going to be presenting this to an audience that may not need to look at some of these slides. For example, that really ugly slide that I created the other day. So let me right-click on this slide, and there's options to hide the slide. This doesn't delete the slide, so you can always go back to it later, but it actually, if you notice, it dimmed this slide a little bit. And if I go and present the slideshow again, I'm going to go here. Oh, look at that. We did not get that really ugly slide because we hid it. So if you do have different audiences that you're going to be working with that may not need to see particular slides of your presentation, you can always hide them and then bring them back. To bring them back, you'll just right-click on it again, click on Hide Slide one more time, and it's back. So that's pretty easy to do as well. So now, what I would like to show you as well is some ways to practice your presentation. If I go here in the slideshow tab, which I'm already in right now in my ribbon in PowerPoint, there are a lot of different options for, playing your slideshow from the beginning. I'm sure you've probably used that before if you've used PowerPoint. But if we go over here, there is a little more to the right, there is a rehearse timings button. And if I click on that, whoops, there we go. If I click on that, it does bring up my presentation as if I were presenting it, but it also brings up this little bitty window here. And this window has a timer. And so it has a total time here on the far right of that little window, and then it has a time for that slide. And if I go to the next slide, resets the slide clock, but keeps the total clock running. So you can present as if you were really presenting in front of an audience, and then you can time how long it takes. So that is a great way to practice your timings. And so let me go through here until it's over. And once you're done with the slideshow, it will ask you if you want to save the timings to your slides. You don't necessarily have to unless you maybe want to have it automatically run for you, but I really don't like to have my slideshows run automatically based on time, since if something trips me up or if there's a question that might take a little longer than usual, it can throw your timing off and can mess your presentation up. So usually I don't save those, but you're welcome to if you want. But now we're back in our regular PowerPoint, and let me go ahead and I'm going to show you another really cool presentation view that has been added to the latest version of PowerPoint, PowerPoint 2016. And let's go ahead and I'm going to start my slideshow here. And let me see if I can switch this display for you here. There we go. This is what you see, especially if you're, usually if you're presenting on a computer that's connected to a projector and is projecting on a screen, but then you also have a monitor in front of you that nobody else can see. This is what will show up. This is presentation mode. It shows you a image or an image of your presentation, the slide that's currently showing on the projector, as well as the next slide so you can be prepared there, as well as any notes that you've put into your slideshow as well, right here below the next slide. Also, you have a lot of other tools like a pen and laser pointer right there. It's a lot easier to get to than older versions of PowerPoint were. So I can actually do a laser pointer right here and it'll show up on the projector, things like that. You can have a pen, you can have a highlighter, all kinds of cool stuff. And then we can also, let me swap this back so you can look at it here. Let me use my laser pointer again. There you go. So that would show up for your audience, that little laser point. Pretty helpful there. And so let me go ahead and I'm going to close this presentation because I at least was able to show you the presentation mode there. Now let me go to transitions and animations. Now, transitions are great. Animations are great too, but they're easy to get caught and carried away under. Sometimes you've probably seen these presentations where the text bounces around on the screen before it finally reaches its final destination, or an image spins around and twirls around before it reaches its destination. And it's cool that you can do that, but it can be really distracting too to the audience. You want them to listen to what you have to say, not at all the pretty stuff on your PowerPoint presentation. So while you're welcome to use them, they use them sparingly and make sure that they don't distract from what you're actually wanting to say. Transitions are kind of the same way. Transitions are always great to have. They make it look really, really professional, really slick, but some of them are kind of silly, like the star swipe and some of the other ones. We have all kinds of things. You can have curtains, so curtains open up to the next slide, things like that. You're welcome to use them, but don't use too many of them. Don't use different ones for every slide. Just keep things consistent and make sure it's not too distracting. But what I like to do a simple fade or a wipe. So I'm going to just select fade here. And I'm going to go over here to the right on the transitions ribbon. You can set a sound for the presentation, or for the transition rather. So if, for example, you wanted to have a certain tone sound or a chime to prompt your audience to do something, you could do that. But usually you don't really want to have the sounds on there. Duration, you can set the duration of the transition. Right now it's just a little under 1 second, which is perfect. You can always make it longer, but don't make it too long. Don't make it like a 5-second fade to your next slideshow. That would waste quite a bit of time, but you're welcome to edit that. And then also here we have apply to all. Again, consistency to me is an important thing, so I'm just going to apply the same transition to all of the slides. And then when I present this, I have a really nice fade into all of my slides. Pretty simple. And so now we're back here, and let's see. We have our slide notes. So I was mentioning earlier that you can put in notes for your slides that you can print out. And how you do that, let me make this a little bigger for you. Here at the bottom below the big slide here, you have this text. I'm going to highlight it for you if I can. There we go. You might be able to see that highlight there. You can type in notes there, and they're not visible to your audience. They're visible to you in the presentation mode or in your notes that you've printed off from PowerPoint. Also, let me go ahead and I will see about, I think we've covered outline view, we've covered templates, or actually slide types. Let me try that here. Let me go back to my design, or actually insert there. Actually home, there we go. Let me go ahead and I'll go to new slide here. I'm going to just create a new slide and show you something. If I go to the to content template here, I have 2 places to put in information in my slideshow. I've seen folks use, let's say, the same slide for every single slide, or the same slide type. They'll just make title slide after title slide and just put pictures wherever they may go and then text wherever it may go. And it's really disjointed, really disorganized, and can be distracting. So always use the templates that they give you, or you can also build your own, but that's a more advanced thing for a different class. But what you can do here is create these templates to make it a little more organized. Let me just type something in here real quick. There we go. And also, you don't really have to create a lot of graphics anymore. I know in older versions of PowerPoint, if you wanted to have a diagram or a graphic, it was a lot harder to create in older versions of PowerPoint, but they've made it so easy in PowerPoint 2016. If you notice on this right-hand box here on this slide, we have a lot of different options to insert content into this slide, like a table, a chart, online pictures, so you can search online for images to put in, pictures from your computer, as well as online videos as well, or videos from your computer. But also up here we have insert a smart art graphic. Now this is a really, really cool feature, so you don't have to create diagrams by hand anymore. If I click on this, it gives me all kinds of options on smart art to use in my presentation. We have lists, we have processes, cycles, relationships, all kinds of cool stuff. And these are really helpful if you have a particular procedure that you're wanting to show to your audience in a graphical manner. It can make it a lot easier for them to digest that information. And so let me go ahead. I'm going to use one of these process ones. I like the one here with the basic process. I'm going to click OK there. And now automatically I have a graphic. And over here to the left of that graphic, I can actually type in the text. So I can do, let's see, step 1, just as an example here. Then step 2, and then step 3. You can always add more of these. And let me go ahead and also change the color. You can change different color themes, things like that. You can change the layout from here and get a preview of what it will look like. All kinds of cool stuff. And once you're done, you can always remove these or insert new ones and make the graphic your own. And there we go, just like that. And so just go ahead, feel free to go into PowerPoint and play with those because it's really easy to do. Okay, so that really, in a nutshell, is the PowerPoint segment of our presentation. Now let's move to the other software that we were going to talk about. Let me close PowerPoint here. And it's going to take us to my browser here, and we're going to talk about Sway. And so for Sway, you can get to Microsoft Sway either from, if you're used to going to office.smu.edu or something like that. If you're an active SMU student, faculty, or staff member, you can go there and log in that way, or you can simply go to sway.com and log in with your SMU credentials there. Either one will work. Also, Sway is available to everybody for free. Not just SMU students, faculty, or staff, or people who've bought it. Everybody can get it for free. It's a free program from Microsoft. So let me go ahead and sign in here. And then if it asks you this, make sure to go to work or school account. And here we are. This is the Sway interface. And I have created quite a few of these different Sways just to play around, but let's create a new one from scratch. There are a couple other options, as you can see here, like start from a topic. So if I click on that, you can actually say, I want to create a presentation about, let's say, the Revolutionary War or something like that. Photosynthesis, they have a few examples right here. What it will do is it will search the web and put things into your presentation from the web that can get you started. So it will basically create a presentation for you based on what you want to make a presentation about. Just type it in. So that's one option. And then you can also start from a document, much like how we did in PowerPoint from the outline that we made. You can take that outline and put it into Sway. But right now, just to kind of show you how Sway really works, I'd like to create one completely from scratch. So I'm just going to go to Create New. And I'm going to call this our introductory Sway. There we go. And Microsoft's a little funny with this. They don't call them Sway files. They call them Sways. So we're not creating files. We're creating Sways. So keep that in mind. So we have our title there. We can also add a background image. So I'm going to click on that here. And there's a lot of different options for us. We can go, let's say, technology. And it will go online to look for all kinds of technological different images here. Some of them are a little strange here, but let me go ahead and I'll take this one right here. and or actually that one. Let's go with that one, and I'll go to Add, and then there is our background image for that particular card. That's what particular slides are called within Sway. They are cards. And so you can move all these around, and whenever you want to add one, you can click on this little plus sign below this card. Then we'll ask you what you want to add, a heading, some text, just an image, or you can click on this ellipsis here to bring back this cards sidebar. And that gives you all kinds of different options on what you can put into your presentation. For example, let me click on video here. And now we have a caption for our video. We can type in, let's do relax. And then I'm going to go to add a video. I'm going to go to, let's see, I'm going to do nature. And so we have a lot of different things on nature here. Well, let me see here. It looks more like we're doing images here. Let's add a video there. There may not be. Here we go. Now, here's our videos. Here's a relaxing nature video. Let me click on that and add it to our presentation. And close that out. Then add, say, just some text. Okay, so we have 3 cards right here. We can always move them around if we wanted to in different orders. And also, let me go ahead and I'll add one more thing. We can actually add tweets, which is pretty cool. You can click add a tweet, and then it will allow you to go to Twitter here and then search for whatever you'd like there. These are just all the trending ones on Twitter right now. There's a lot of, I have some nature ones since I was searching for nature earlier. These are nature-themed Twitter posts. So let's take that one. And I'll show you now, you can preview your presentation by clicking preview here on the right-hand side. And so there's that. Or you can click play here, and that's probably going to be more reliable in terms of how people will see it. And if we click on that, we have our introductory sway, and you can scroll down and go through the sway. All of our cards are through here. We have our video, and then we have our tweet with the Twitter interface that you're probably used to in your browser. So there we go, and I'll go back to edit up here in the top right with the pencil icon. And I can go back to my actual editing interface. And so you notice that particular presentation or sway was a vertical scroll. So it was just all of our cards on a vertical web page that they scrolled through. And there are a few other layouts that you can choose from. If I click on layout up here at the top, we have the vertical scroll, we have a horizontal scroll, or we have optimized for presentation. That's going to be more for if you're actually presenting this in front of an audience. But these other ones for the scrolling, that's more if you want to publish this to the web somehow, or share a link to this sway where a classroom could go in and scroll through this particular sway. And I can show you how that works here. If I go to share up here in the top right, you can then take your sway and copy this link and share it with others. And also you can set the security for that to have either all of those in your organization with the link or anyone with the link. So anyone with the link, they wouldn't have to log in or anything. They'd be able to access it no matter what. Those in the organization are just those people with SMU accounts. They'd be able to see it. Or just you doesn't allow you to share it at all. So there are different ways to share it. And also there's a few other options. If you click more options, you can set a password. So if anybody wants to edit the sway, they can enter that password and edit it that way. And there are a few other options here. Let's change the design of our sway here. There's a lot of different ways to design it here. Let's see, let's pick that one, see how it looks. Here we go. That looks pretty good. Then we scroll down. But there's also ways to customize each of these. So you can take any of these templates and change them to whatever you'd like. So it can be very, very flexible that way. Now, let's go ahead and we'll have a little fun here. We'll click Remix. What Remix does is it takes your slideshow or your sway and totally changes the design of it just to kind of see how you feel about it. And then you can always undo right next to the remix, and then it takes you back to what you had. So Sway, where this could really come in handy is in a classroom setting. If you're wanting to present to your class a particular topic, and maybe you're in a computer lab, you could have them all go to this particular page, this particular Sway, and go through the content that way. You can also embed the Sway into a web page. So for your personal website, if you wanted to, there's a lot of different options there. And also you can select the presentation layout and just present it just like a PowerPoint. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. So really, that's about it for my presentation. I hope this has been helpful for you in learning about how to make your presentations a little more exciting. And a few little last bits of information here. If you do want to refer to more information or learn more about Sway or PowerPoint or anything else that might interest you, feel free to go to lynda.com. That's smu.edu/Lynda for active SMU students, faculty, and staff. Log in with your information and search for Sway, and you can look at courses like the Sway Essential Training, as well as a few other things, actually thousands of other things about all kinds of different software. So make sure to do that. And if you have any questions with PowerPoint, issues with PowerPoint, especially faculty and staff maybe getting it installed on your machine, if for some reason it's not, usually it is. If you have any issues, feel free to call the IT help desk. They'll be happy to help at 214-768-4357, or send them an email at help@smu.edu. Once again, thank you for joining me, and have a great one.